All right. Hi, I'm Dan Lazonis, and this is my class. I am the Einstein Blueprint guy. It's just me. It's one man show here. I want to give you a little bit of a look inside of, well, the math class, right? So that's what you're here for. That's what you're on this website for, to see what it looks like. Okay. Most people understand the concept of a class, and they all have the same conception of what a math class is like. And that's, everyone is in fourth grade, everybody's doing long division, and there's a teacher, there's a lecture, there's some type of something going on in the classroom, maybe maybe a little lecture, maybe a problem set, maybe a quiz and homework. And that is a very narrow way of looking at the possibilities for mathematics. And so the number one question I get usually from people is like, how do you segregate the kids by age or by ability? And my kid is this, my kid is either too smart, or my kid is not smart enough, or whatever. And they just don't think it's possible, because again, they think that a math class is just, it has to be in that, has to fit that image, that tight image of what we all grew up with. So my math class is, and I'm going to show you a bunch of things here, so bear with me. It's not an easy, it's a very multi-dimensional undertaking. But when we start our math class, generally speaking, so first of all, these are the recordings, okay? So this was a class, oh, wait a minute, that's going back too far. All right, so this was a class the other day. And if you look at these screens, you're going to see a lot of writing on them, right? Like you're going to see this one here. It's got a lot of writing on the thumbnail has it. It's going to keep flicking on me if I hover over it. And what we do to start every class is a warm up, just like you were in a fitness class. And fitness is a great analogy for mathematics. And I'm going to come back to this. Well, actually, I'll address it right now. My kid's at this level. My kid's at that level. This kid is at, we can't have class together. Put it this way. You go into a yoga class or a CrossFit class, and people are at all sorts of different abilities, right? And what does the teacher do? What does the instructor do? The coach, they just modify. And the students or the participants just modify. They do what they can. Okay. And that's what this math class is about. And that's how I'm able to, it's designed to accommodate many, many kids. It's also designed to get your kids to like math and get better at it, but it's designed to accommodate many kids. And it turns out that that's actually the best way to do it. All right. So when we start our class, we start with what's called a warm up. Okay. So this is from the other day, and this was a little bit of a weird one. So let me go to an easier one. All right. So right here, this in blue, it says 7s to 210. So I'm writing, let's skip count by 7s to 210. Now, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. You can see how we did it. And the reason we do this is because this is how you get fast at computation. Okay, you don't memorize this. You learn how to add 7. You look at the last digit and you try to scaffold to the next multiple of 10. I teach the kids this when they're young, and some of my students have been with me for a while are really good at it, and they can count by 7s to 210 extremely fast, and they can count by 49s to 1470 really fast. And so all the kids in the class, they're either going to do it nose down fast, or they're going to be looking up and transcribing off of what I write. Okay, either way, it's going to sink in. Okay, so the younger kids, they start to see the patterns. We're going to go up 50 and back 1, up 50 and back 1. That's when we're adding 49. And you just do these drills over and over and over again, just like pro athletes or amateur athletes do the same layup drills in basketball, the same juggling drills in soccer. These are warm-ups. This is how you stay sharp. Okay, and this is actually the best possible way to gain computational competence and computational speed. And the ability to add, subtract, multiply, divide, and factor, draw polygons accurately, the ability to do all that quickly, that is the cardiovascular baseline, or the cardiovascular foundation for being good at math. There are very few people who are good at math and they can't add, subtract, multiply, divide, and factor fast. And so this is what I do when I'm working with all my students, including the math geniuses. I teach them how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide like math geniuses. And it is not the way that they do it in schools. It's not the way that you and I learned it originally. You have to be more of a math genius to understand the way that either a math genius or an unschooled math genius to understand that you add numbers left to right, that you don't carry, that you don't borrow, that you use a lot of estimation, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go into that now, but we start the class with this, and it could go 20 minutes. Okay. And so look, we're also starting with, I wrote at the top half. We're starting with 40,960. Cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it in half. Okay. Do that. Kids need to learn how to cut numbers in half. This is the real math that our kids need to know how to do. They need to be comfortable with cutting things in half. And it's a skill that's not directly taught, but teaching word problems and Common Core this and that. But again, computational, and we're just getting started here. Computational excellence is what we work on. Pascal's triangle, you might not know what this is, or you may, but we write this out over and over again. Look down here at the bottom in this warm-up we had. The kids love these. Now, again, my goal is to get kids to love math, and to people think you have to hate math in order to be good at it. That, that's a school mindset. That's it has to hurt. No, I'm getting kids to love math. I'm teaching them self-mastery drills like these above, where they'll get faster and faster and faster. And, I mix it up. Okay, so we go longer. An hour is longer than 40 minutes. But we have less pressure in some ways. Okay, we have more freedom and less pressure. And it's all these factors are actually positive and beneficial if we harness them to get our kids to love math, not hate it. Okay, don't teach your kid that math must stink. It must be painful. That is not true. All right. So I'll put these unscrambles here. In black, you'll see this. And the kids were, some of the kids who get through Pascal's triangle really quickly. Some kids are back here. It doesn't matter. They are where they are. They're all getting faster and getting better. And they're just copying it down. It's transcription. Okay. If they're stuck, it's just, and they can always ask me questions in the chat. And they love to catch my mistakes. But yeah, they need to know their powers of two. That's what's going on here. All right, so some kids will unscramble this, and I give hints. And look, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Okay. Another warm-up here. We're counting by 11s. Okay, we're doing some of the same stuff over and over here. Let's see this one here. I have the kids drawing constantly, and they need to learn how to draw a rhombus accurately. They need to know how to draw parallelograms. They need to know what these words are. They need to know what the boomerang is, the convex quadrilateral. They need to know the relationship between these quadrilaterals and their diagonals. Right? We'll draw the quadrilaterals diagonals first. What do we know about the diagonals? What do we know about the angles? Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Factoring. Nobody teaches this. Nobody on earth teaches this. Factor the numbers 2 to 100 quickly. No factor trees. None of that garbage. Okay. When your child sees 85, they need to know that it's 17 nickels, that it's 5 times 17 very quickly. The length of time it takes them to see 85 as 5 times 17, however long it takes them, from that, I can extrapolate accurately what they will score in a math SAT. My favorite question of all time is right here, 91, where I ask what is 7 times 13, and how a student answers and calculates what 7 times 13 is. I can tell you whether they're going to make a math SAT on the 500s, 600s, or 700s. I can tell just by that one question. Hint, math geniuses do 7 times 10 in their head, 70 plus 21. That's how math geniuses add big numbers first. It's called left to right math. I teach that all the time. All right. We also work with polyhedra. When your students tell you that you're the best math teacher they've ever had, great. I also, and you may detect this, I also intersperse my teaching with an extreme amount of jocularity and humor. In fact, there are some girls in the class who, or at least one girl in particular, who kept a whole running Google Doc of all my jokes. Okay, so we have a good time. We do things that we can do, and we build on them. All right. The other thing that I do, which is I really want to highlight here, I could highlight a lot of things. Well, look, right here, we play Jeopardy games. I make these up. Look at math jokes, pentagons, buildings, cookies. Let's look. Oh, wait, I didn't share my screen or share my sound. I don't know if you can hear that. Not. Shortest path from the top of a building to a spot on the ground would be called what in geometry? Shortest path from the top of a building to a spot on the ground. What would it be called? A hypotenuse, right? Here's your building. These kids need to know these words. The high toilet in use. Okay. What else we got here? No, cancel, continue. True or false? True or false for 400? 0.99999 is equal to 1. Of course, that is true. Okay, why is my sound? Okay, of course it is. And you need to know something about infinite geometric series to know that this number here, this repeating decimal, can get arbitrarily close to 1. Therefore, it is equal to 1. All right, we play another game called Kahoot. Okay, we have flashcards here, and these are for like my older students. Like, how do you calculate change? You're going to come to a hard question, and it's going to say, what is the change in this? And they need to go from words to symbols. This is just subtraction, new minus old. Now, it might seem so rudimentary, but how do you calculate percentage change? Okay, this is where we level it up. How do you calculate? You need to know the formula right away. You need to write something down on paper. It's new minus old relative to old. I don't know. This is pretty old. This slide here. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't enlarge well. What is a set? Collection of elements, right? Okay, we need to know what a set is before we start doing Venn diagrams. And as we do Venn diagrams and learn about complements, part of a set, subset, part of a set is a subset. What is this? The domain and range of a function are sets. Okay, so I'm getting the kids to learn all about the math literacy, learning words. We learn prefixes. We do all sorts of stuff. We do math cursive. Let's see if I can show you some math cursive. So I have the kids write out. Actually, maybe I'll come back to it. But I do have the kids write out math facts in cursive, like right here. Okay, so why would you do that? 2 is the only even prime number. 2 is the factor means to write as a product. If I ask a student what factor means, they have to be able to say it means write as a product. Okay, they need to know that. They need to know that a product is the result of multiplication. Okay, almost all of higher level math essentially is factoring. Okay, and this is something that people don't really understand. And why is it important? Well, when you're stuck on a question, well, what can we factor? Well, why do we factor? We factor so we can simplify. Okay, we need to simplify. Math teachers make things complicate. Math students need to make it simpler. All right. So another thing that I have is I mail out a print newsletter each month. And you can see this is a testimonial from one of my students here. She's in Seattle. Okay. She's one of my private students, pays me a lot more money than per hour than this class costs. Okay. But I'm trying to get people to love math. I'm trying to get parents on board with math. I am trying to get rid of math hate. My class, again, it's taught totally differently. Okay. And look, if you were to go, well, if you're on this page, you might not be on this page, but if you would look at the testimonials, my students, Dan provides the roadmap you can't find anywhere else. I like that. It is true. Okay. And I got my son doing algebra when he was 5 years old. Now he's 18. And I got him to calculus when he was 7. And like I said, I've gotten many of my private students to super high levels in math competitions. But I'll tell you right now that I'm a better math teacher today than I was 6 months ago. I keep getting better and better. I keep finding better resources. So whatever I'm giving your kids is way better than I used to get my son to algebra at age 5 and calculus at age 7. It's just way better. It's 13 years more experience teaching math. Math used to end in tears, not anymore. Obsessed with Dan's math class. Okay. My son started algebra at 5. Okay. So in these kids, when they come in with me, that some of these kids have been with me for a while and they're on a very steep trajectory and I can still make their brain hurt. Okay. So I'm very good at giving an individual student, pointing them in the direction that they need to go in right away. I have somewhat of an ego about how good of a math teacher I am. I teach toddlers how to count on their fingers, and I teach kids at the highest levels, and I just love it. If somebody sat next to me anywhere on earth, I would just start teaching for free, which is basically what I do sometimes. All right. So again, these classes here, let me show you this one here. So if we just click on this right here, What you're seeing here on this screen, which is very blurry for some reason, I don't know why it's not, is a bunch of dice, 60 dice. Can your kids add them up? Okay, can they add them up? How are they going to add them up? Are they going to do it in their head? Are they going to go down columns? Are they going to use paper? I mean, this is, to me, is the essence of math. And we do these stuff over and over and over again. And the more your kids add up 60 dice or 10 dice or 30 dice, the better they get at it. Okay. And they know that they're better at it. And then they start to gain a sense of self-mastery. Okay. Not math dread, but math self-mastery. Okay. So one of the main things that I've incorporated, and I use competitive math. I've been teaching competitive math, immersed in competitive math for a very long time. And I've taught this stuff to kids for years. I started basically when I was 14, which was, in a sense, 34 years ago. Okay. When I was 14, I was turning around and teaching all the other kids on my math team. And so I have a real passion for competitive math. And these questions like this, the average of number greater than 1 and its reciprocal is 13/12. These questions are better than anything that you're going to find in any textbooks. Okay. The competitive math questions are designed by people like me who love elegant math solutions. Okay. They love sitting around posing problems, figuring out how they can stretch someone's brain. They're figuring out how they can create a question that can be solved a few different ways. So I have a steep background in competitive math, so I can handle all that stuff, no problem. And I have for many years. But also what I've really shifted to over the last few years is what I call puzzles, a puzzle curriculum, a math puzzle curriculum. Right now, these things here, they're puzzles called KenKen and Kakuro and math crosswords. Let me see. Can I even pull this up? Let's see what this will come up as. Yeah. So this is called Math Kakuro, and it's an addition puzzle. You have to use the digits 1 through 9, and you're looking for fixed sums. And, this is not a particularly hard one, but it is for some young kids. But I teach the kids how to attack these. We're looking for what's called unique sums. Okay. And, like there are only 2 numbers that can add up to 4, and they're 1 and 3 within these constraints. And so 17 has to be 8 and 9 here. Okay. And so it gets more complicated than that. 10 is a triangular number. It has to be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Okay. And the kids know that. Okay. And so I print out these puzzles, or I email them out, and the kids print them at home, and we work through them. Okay. So we have a full-on puzzle curriculum. Now, why is this better than a textbook curriculum? Because as your kids hack away at these questions and they learn how to hack at them, they stay with the question longer, right? If you ask a young kid what 8 plus 9 is, and they say 17, they go to the next question. You're not building up the stamina, their math stamina. What I want kids to do is I want them to be able to add 8 and 9 real quickly, but I also want them to be able to stay with the question for a very long time. That's how you build up a lot of problem-solving muscles and a lot of problem-solving stamina, like I said, and a lot of confidence as well. That's how you really learn, how to get good at math, is by spending a lot of time on problems. And that's like an Albert Einstein quote. He says he's not smarter than others. He just stays with the problems longer. Any math teacher, any math class should be extending the attention span and the math stamina of its students, right? In other words, say your child is 5 and they can concentrate for 15 minutes. All right, great. We're going to get them to work on 20 minutes, and then 25, and then an hour. And this is why this whole thing they do in school with the 40-minute math class, the 40-minute math class is a joke, okay? Because adults go into the real world, and we go into our office or whatever, and we have to spend hours on projects and problems, okay? So that's how you really deepen your comprehension of mathematics, is when you expand or extend the time under tension. And so these puzzles, let me see if I can find another one. All right, so there's another one. I don't know if, yeah, that's a different one, isn't it? Yeah, that's a different one. This one here, this is called a KenKen Puzzle, and the kids need to, put numbers in, and we use pencil. It has to be 5 and 7 in here, but we don't know what goes where. Okay, so there's factoring involved in these. 63 could be 9 times 7 times 1, or 3, 3, and 7. Okay, so we're limiting the possible. They have to know how to factor 224 to do this. Okay, so I have shifted to a massive. Let me see if I can get in a different folder, because this is a new month. Oh, these are the results of a game that we played. The girls are generally been dominating since my son moved to Guatemala, but that's a Kahoot. Again, this is called verbal arithmetic, or cryptorhythm. Okay, amazing amount of math and fun in these questions. Let's see if I can go to that's January. We should have some other ones in here. Okay. Here. This one here. Okay, the word problem. I find these off of Instagram, okay, or wherever. Okay, matchstick questions. These kids absolutely love these. Move 2 matches to make the equation correct. Okay, this really engages all sorts of their imagination and mathematics as well, right? And these kids love these matchstick questions. Okay, that's called a killer Sudoku. Okay, I incorporate Spanish into my class. Now, I only know un poquito español, but I have the kids skip count. And great, your kid knows how to count by 7s, but can they count by 7s in Spanish? Okay, do they know? I mean, why not? Right? Everyone needs to know un poquito español. All right, so I actually incorporate Spanish into the Jeopardy questions. Let's see, did I have it in that Jeopardy? No. What were my categories here? Pentagons, buildings, cookies, true or false, tessellations. Yeah, I mean, the kids love they love these cookie questions. Chips Ahoy started as a 16-chip cookie. Now each has roughly 24 chips. What percent increase was this? Percent increase. New minus old relative to old. Okay. As you can see, this is kind of like I want to say laboratory, because I'm not British, but this is like my laboratory. I do a lot of one-on-one work with some high-flying students, some of these ultra-wealthy people that live around the world. But what I do in this class is I give the kids exactly the same thing that I give my private students. And some days, these kids, they have a lot of access to me. So I got emails this weekend. My daughter's stuck on this geometry question, or my son is stuck on this. They take a picture of the stuff and I bring it, and we do it right in class. And I have open office hours for parents, and I do help parents with all sorts of strategic mathematical pivots. Okay, this is what I do. And if you can't tell by now that I'm extremely passionate about this, then then I don't know. I don't know what you think math passionate looks like, but I don't think I've met many people that are that crazy about math as I am. So that's just a little bit of a look inside. Now, I don't know what the price is on. You can see the price there. It's very low. The price of this class is, it would cost you, probably 100 times that per hour to get me for an hour normally. And so this is a no-brainer. And I created this class because it's a need, and because kids need to do math first thing in the morning. It's like exercise. If you don't exercise in the morning, it doesn't happen. You try to push math off all day long, do it at night, it doesn't happen. Okay, so math for breakfast is one of my philosophical mandates, that you do the hardest thing first thing in the morning. And I have kids in California and Western Canada getting up at 6:30 in the morning to do this math, and their parents are loving it. Okay, and so again, this class is for everyone. Doesn't matter what your level is. It's for everyone who's well behaved, and you do need to write things down, right? So some kids won't write stuff down. They have fine motor deficits from overstimulated prefrontal cortexes from video games and other hyper arousing screen stuff, and they have problems writing things down. But this is a must. Okay, math should be done on blank paper. Okay, look at how much writing there is on this. If you look at a workbook, it's almost like fill in the blank. Okay, no, he or she who writes the most in any subject, honestly, wins, learns the most. Okay, so this math transcription thing is no joke. Where are my other? I can show you my other. Oh, and by the way, when you join the class, you have an access to like almost an infinite number of hours of classes that I've taught. And you just see through these things. I mean, I can't even remember all the things that I've covered, but it's a significant amount of stuff. You're talking about over 20 hours a month of Dan. Okay. And just take a look at all the stuff that we've done. And the kids who've been with me for a long time, again, they're the slope of their math trajectory and their relationship with math, the kids' relationship with math, high trajectory, very favorable relationship with math. Oh, these are like, I don't know if you can see this over here. We do these questions where we're counting triangles, and kids absolutely love those. So the number, what's changed in math, 7 + 7 hasn't changed over time, but there is an abundance, a real cornucopia of amazing math problems and instruction, YouTube videos. There's all sorts of great stuff out there. And you could go do Khan Academy, and sometimes we'll do Khan Academy in class, and you can see how they just completely botch it. Okay, so it's like fitness, right? There's a whole, there are a whole bunch of people advocating a whole bunch of things, but there's really a best way, and there really is a best way to do math. And I submit that it's my way. It's doing it first thing in the morning. It's doing it with lots of writing. It's learning computation the way math geniuses learn computation. It's removing the stress of tests, but increasing I would say the expectations that we're going to do more math. We're going to do it for longer periods of time. And when you're stuck with, there's no big deal. There's no blood. There's no tears. You just ask Dan. And so I do this class to liberate moms and dads from having to worry about math. Okay. I don't teach my kids piano. I teach what I want to teach, and I outsource the piano to somebody who likes to teach piano. So this is what I have for you. And it's a pretty good deal for everyone involved. So I would encourage you to hit the button down below and give it a whirl. All right. I may put another video below, but maybe not. Maybe that's enough.